Did we really? Yeah. Well, we started off pretty slow. I mean, it was pretty ugly on offense for a decent part of the day. Had a lot of chances. But our defense played incredible, after getting blasted for the last week. Really proud of them. Thought the energy was great. Thought there was a good message last night by Jalen, and I think the guys responded well.
Following up on that, Aaron, after the muff punt, I think you scored on every one of the next 4 that you got, the turnovers. What did you like, first of all, about your execution and the play calling as well that came in those situations?
Oh, I love the play calling. I thought the execution was pretty bad. We got to look in the mirror and play better on offense, because that's not good enough. Any phase, the run game, catching the football, defense played incredible, and we got to put game like that. We got to put 35-42 on the board and close the game out. So, good tape for coaching staff when you win a game and you got a lot to work on.
Aaron, specifically with TJ, when he makes that play, what kind of wave did that give?
I think that was a turning point in the game for sure. 7-0, they were driving. We ended up turning that into 7, I believe. So that was good. It wasn't a pretty drive. We had a 4th and 1 conversion, but that changed the game 100%. From that point forward, I thought the pass rush was outstanding. I thought we covered well on the back end. Got to give Kyle a lot of credit for coming in here and playing the way he did. But I felt like it seemed like Alex and TJ and Nick were super active, and their inside guys were good, and it seemed like BQ had a good game, and Peyton had a big pick. So everybody on defense played great. Got to give Five a lot of credit for his leadership the last 24 hours. And, I haven't seen the film, but just the eye test, felt like he was in the right place at the right time on defense, and we were opportunistic, and really proud of those guys. And we did just enough on offense, but play calling was solid. I love the personnel mixture, the play calling various times in those possession downs, but the execution was pretty bad.
Anyone else?
Aaron, Ben said you guys had a conversation before the game, not asking what you guys said, but what do you respect about him as a quarterback as they celebrate one of his Super Bowls here?
I was wondering if you're talking about Skronik. I was like, you talked to Ben? What the hell is Ben saying? Big Ben, yeah. I've known Ben for years and years and years, going back to, the early Tahoe days, and he was picked in the draft before me. So I obviously knew about his game, and we played a long time. Only got to play each other a couple times, but a lot of respect for him and his career, what he accomplished. They won the Super Bowl in his second year. It's pretty impressive. Then the first year they won a bunch of games too. He's kind of the standard, like him and Marino, until I guess maybe I'm missing 1 or 2, but it seemed like him and Marino and maybe Jaden last year. 3 quarterbacks you think about having success in a rookie year. So one of my favorite, as a fan of the game, because I am, Big Ben moments was a drive in the Super Bowl against Arizona, coming down and hitting Santonio right in the corner of the end zone on a beautiful pass and great toe tap. But I enjoy watching him play over the years, because he wasn't the fastest guy, but he's hard to take down. He was always swinging that ball around, keeping the plays alive, and it's fun. This is a big Ben team. I'm just happy to be a part of the organization though.
We talked to Calvin. He gave a lot. He said it's really motivating to know that the way that you can work the ball to whoever throughout any read on any play. What do you see from your guys and their effort to fight through, even when they're not the primary read? It seems like all 5 guys that you have are fighting to get over.
Well, that's how they got to do it. I always tell them, I said, you got to run it like the ball's coming your way every play. And I was proud of Cal, proud of the tight ends. Darnell had basically that one drive where he had a bunch of catches on it. He's been a weapon for us. We got to get that fixed there in the red zone so we can connect on that for a touchdown. But I just love his attitude. When he's on the field, we're a better team. So I think you guys have talked about it. We've talked about it. Everybody's talked about it. When 80's on the field, we're a better offense. So I'm really proud of his effort every single week. I thought the line blocked really well. I kind of walked into 1 sack. Obviously had to take a sack on the last play when Calvin fell down to keep the 40 seconds on the clock. But other than that, I felt like they played really well in the pass game. We didn't run the ball as well as we wanted to, but they got a good front. And we had to kind of dink and dunk them at times.
Aaron,
Aaron,
The
just
red zone
said
pass.
that Aaron, a couple defensive players said they felt like they were bringing a different energy in practice this week going into this game. Did you notice a sense of urgency or more aggression, more energy throughout practice this week?
No, I didn't. But I noticed that something kind of changed last night when Jalen spoke. And it's not easy to speak in front of the team even when you're a player. It's unnatural. I think coaches are used to it because they do it every single day, and Mike is fantastic at it. But Jalen kind of went on and had the attention of the room, and he said some really, really good stuff. I'm not going to get into it because I feel like that it's kind of need to know information. But it was meaningful to me on the offensive side, and I feel like we had a different energy in the locker room today. Now, all week, I don't pay super tight attention to that side of the ball at all times in practice, but I do feel like in the locker room pregame, there was a different energy for us, and they played really well.
Aaron, just how hard is it for a guy like Kyle to come in on Thursday, 2 practices, play full load of snaps, and what can you say about doing that on such a short notice?
I got to give him a lot of credit as a professional. That's hard to do. I've seen a lot of transactions over the years, and I always feel like if you can put your arms around that guy right away, you got a good chance of him kind of jumping on board. And I felt like in Green Bay we were really good at that. We had some misfits in 2010 that other teams kind of cast off, and we kind of brought him into the fold and did something special. And he's a guy like that too. He went from making money and being a starter to being out of the rotation. And I saw him in the weight room on Wednesday and chatted him up, and felt like the guys kind of just brought him in and said, "You're our guy." So go out there and just be yourself and have fun. But it is not easy to do that at all. And I give him a lot of credit as a professional, and glad he's with us.
Aaron, you mentioned a couple times kind of not riding the roller coaster, but after the adversity you guys have faced the last 2 weeks, how would you describe the resiliency of this team?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a couple where we had legitimate chances to win. But it's a crazy league. I saw the scores, and Carolina beat Green Bay today at Lambeau, I believe. And Chicago had a comeback win after giving up 42 points. Minnesota beat Detroit, I believe, too. Anything can happen. That's what the league wants. There's a great parity to it. You got to deal with adversity. This was a really important win for us, though, to not lose 3 in a row, to not go to 1-3 at home, and to kind of get that big elephant that was starting to try and jump on the backs of the defense, which is made up of media and outside conversation about them. So we're all human, and I think those guys felt pretty upset, had a little red ass about what's been going on. So I'm proud of them, the way they came back and responded.
Even after one of Boswell's field goals, it seems as though you had a long conversation with him. Would you be able to share that conversation as far as what you were saying?
On the field or on the sideline?
On the field.
I didn't talk to Mason Crosby a lot over the years before the kick. And so I've been kind of staying away from Boz because he's been so incredible. It's like talking to a pitcher or a no-hitter. But he made a comment last week that I don't say anything to him when I run off the field. I'm just mad that we're kicking. And I said, the only time I'd be happy is going from 2 scores to 3 late in the game. So I think that may have been on the kick where it went to 27-10. And I also told him that, he's been kind of missing me after I go out to dap up the lineman for blocking and stuff, and he kind of just runs off, and doesn't give me any love. So he made a point this game to come over and dap me up. So that's probably what we were talking about.
You were crediting Darnell earlier for his work, but what have you seen from him that's improved, especially from the route running standpoint, to set up windows for you to target him in?
Yeah, it's really that. It's the attention and practice to kind of taking your time, especially in the group work, like just working on being deliberate but patient with his route running. He's just such a big body, I just want to throw it up to him. And unfortunately, we had a couple of plays we've been working on for weeks that we called today that went to him that didn't work. So I'm pretty upset about that. But Fredo was like, "Hey, thanks. I'm glad you went back to Darnell." I said, "Of course." I said, "He's a damn good player, and he needs the ball. And when he gets the ball, good things happen. He's got great hands, and he's good after the catch. And he had that one drive was really important, him kind of getting us going.
Aaron, when a guy like Jalen stands up and talks as he did, and then he goes out in the game and plays another position for the entire game, I mean, is that just kind of even validated or justified even more, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I think he played with an edge, too. That's the only little peek into the conversation last night was that he wanted us to play with that edge on defense. I didn't feel like we were doing that enough. And they played with an edge today for sure. So, I'm really thankful that Jalen's here and that he felt comfortable speaking up, and then the guys responded the right way.
2 more.
Or no more.
0.
No more.
Perfect.
Okay.